Welcome everyone to going through House of the Dragon. My name is Triple S, and in this video I'll be talking about the 4th episode of the first season, King of the Narrow Sea. I'll be going through what I like and dislike about the episode, what I feel it does better or worse compared to the source material, and also bring up anything I find interesting or noteworthy enough to mention. There might be spoilers for other media related to the Song of Ice and Fire series as well, so you've been warned. With all that said, let's begin. Right off the bat, Rhaenyra is once again wearing the Valyrian steel necklace Daemon gave her in episode 1, and which she seemed to have stopped wearing in episode 2 when she found out he was calling himself the rightful heir and had stolen the dragon egg she'd picked to be placed in her brother Balon's cradle. I guess she's forgiven him since for that. So this old guy's name is apparently Beric Dondarrion. Yep, the same name as the one-eyed guy who led the Brotherhood Without Banners and kept being brought back to life in Game of Thrones. And he also might be the Lord Criston Cole served under for a year whilst fighting off Dornish incursions along the Boneway, as he mentioned in episode 2. Poor Willem Blackwood trying his best against the heckling of Gerald Bracken. I'm glad he got to get his own back against the asshole. Though, in Fire and Blood, the only duel to happen between a Bracken and a Blackwood was between a Samuel Blackwood and an Amos Bracken, and it was actually the Bracken who emerged victorious, and both lived to tell the tale as well. Did Daemon mean to have Caraxes hit the ship like that? Because if he did, what an asshole. He could have accidentally killed Rhaenyra with her smashing her head against the wood like she did. Can someone explain to me why Daemon would strip away, decimate any part of his long white hair? What treacherous barber should agree to such depravity? You know who I think it was? I think it was Telly of House Barber. Telly of House Barber cut Daemon's beautiful hair. Telly. For anyone confused, the hammer Daemon tells Viserys to add to the chair is the one the crab feeder used to use to nail people to wood on the beaches to be eaten. Fire and Blood tells us Viserys actually gave Daemon back his crown and kissed him on both cheeks, causing those gathered to cheer, but none cheered as loudly as Rhaenyra, who was ecstatic that her uncle had returned, but only because in the book he never declared himself the rightful heir or stole the egg she'd chosen for her brother's cradle. With Alicent no longer being pregnant, she must have given birth to her second child and first daughter called Helena, if the show sticks with Fire and Blood in that regard, and with Aegon later said to now be 3, it's been 1 year since the last episode. Also, if you're wondering why Alicent doesn't look like her multiple pregnancies have affected her body at all, it's actually a plot point from Fire and Blood, and it's something that which Rhaenyra grows jealous of. Was Alicent just trying to be a good host and fill the awkward silence here by suggesting something, or was she trying to get at least Viserys and Rhaenyra alone to talk and maybe sort things out between them? Either way, it was pretty rude for Viserys to laugh in her face like he does, and then even ruder to basically tell his daughter to fuck off if she wants to. It's nice to see Alicent and Rhaenyra being friends again and bonding over their shitty circumstances, no matter how short-lived their amity will end up being. If I found out my bedroom had a secret entrance, you can guarantee it wouldn't be my bedroom for much longer. In fact, I'd just move out of the Red Keep altogether to a place I've had built for myself, and which I know doesn't have any secret ways for others to sneak in through. So Daemon does indeed have some knowledge of the secret passages of the Red Keep, and I now feel more confident in my theory that that's how he was able to eavesdrop on the small council meeting in episode 1. Someone mistakes a disguised Rhaenyra for being a boy, just as people mistook a disguised Arya for being a boy in Game of Thrones. Add to that Rhaenyra not wanting to do what's expected of her, just like Arya didn't want to, and both seeing a plague concerning their families which upsets them. Arya is Rhaenyra reincarnated, confirmed. Oh, so Harwin Breakbone Strong, you know, the guy who seemed impressed at seeing Rhaenyra covered in boar blood in the last episode, has since then joined the Gold Cloaks. Lucky it was him she bumped into when he recognised her, or Daemon might have had to step in. Ew, I've been wanting to know what happened to the cut off Viserys' back he got from the Iron Throne, and now I very much regret asking. We see boobs, peen, woman on woman, and even man on man action going down in this pleasure house. My kind of establishment, and apparently Rhaenyra's as well, since she seems quite turned on and not grossed out by what she's seeing. Rhaenyra's a liberal. I like the juxtaposition of the pleasure house of Viserys' bedroom. Fucking is pleasure for the woman as it is the man. It doesn't look so pleasurable for Alicent to me. I guess she never fell for the king after the marriage like our cat grew to love Ned after marrying him. Also, I'm reminded of the phrase, duty is the death of love. Looks more like the duty of lovemaking is the death of love for poor Alicent here. Am I the only guy who wouldn't be able to stay, you know, aroused in this situation? A woman just starfishing and not actively participating would kill my horny mood and make me concerned that something was wrong. So is this one of those situations where Daemon can't perform like in episode 1? Or is it that he's realised he's gone too far and stops himself from going further? Or is it that he's realised he's gone far enough to possibly ruin Rhaenyra's reputation and then be the only man left who'd be willing to marry her? What goes down between Daemon and Rhaenyra and Criston is mentioned in Fire and Blood, though in a slightly different fashion. The dwarf court jester Mushroom, who still isn't a character in the show despite being incredibly important in the book, gives his account that Rhaenyra only had eyes for Sir Criston. Daemon did things of a sexual nature with his niece, though never deflowering her, to teach her how to seduce Criston. which involved dressing her as a page and taking her to the Street of Silk, as we see happen in the show. When it came time for her to try out everything Daemon and the whores of the Street of Silk had taught her on Kristen though, he was horrified and successfully refused her, unlike in the show. Word about all this then reached Viserys and he confronted his brother who confirmed it all, asked to be wed to Rhaenyra and denied, just as we see happen in the show. So the show has taken quite a different path than the book. Septon Eustace claimed Daemon took Rhaenyra's virginity, Mushroom claimed no one did, and the show says Kristen did. Speaking of Kristen, maybe refusing to have sex with Rhaenyra in the book, there's a lot of discussion going on about whether Kristen actually wanted to have sex with Rhaenyra or not in the show, and if he was just going along with it because she's the princess and the princess gets what she wants. He tried to leave, she kissed him, he stopped her from undressing, she started undressing him, and he kept his eyes respectfully down the entire time until she forced him to look up. He respectfully folds his white Kingsguard cloak, you know, the thing he got because of Rhaenyra and had to swear a bunch of oaths to wear and that he's really proud of, and puts it on a chair instead of just throwing it on the floor. Then after putting down his torso armor, he seems to steel himself for what he's going to have to do next. Even after being led towards Rhaenyra's bed, he stops and appears to think about whether to go through with it or leave. And throughout this entire thing, he only once, maybe, has a smile on his face at one point. The rest of the time he looks quite passive, just like when Alicent was being fucked by Viserys. Alicent and Kristen, two people being taken advantage of by two powerful members of the royal family because they don't have any power to refuse them. At first, I thought the show had made it so that the name of Daemon's favourite brothel was called the White Worm, and this little snitch went straight to Otto from there, but apparently he went to Mysaria first and then to Otto. So the show's sticking with Mysaria being called the White Worm, even though in the book she was given that name because of her pale as milk skin, which show Mysaria does not have. And since not going all the way with her uncle, but instead going all the way with Kristen, Rhaenyra has once again stopped wearing the Valyrian steel necklace Daemon gave her. Wow, Rhaenyra making her mother roll in her grave, blindly swearing on her memory that Daemon never touched her. She should have just stuck with Daemon not fucking her, since that's the truth at least. Daemon really giving off the energy of a character who hates themselves so much that they act like an asshole for no reason other than to make other people hate them as a form of self-punishment, kind of like a card-carrying jerk-ass.
And we will return the House of the Dragon to its proper glory.
He said it! He said it!
It is not in Rhaenyra's nature to be deceitful.
Are you sure about that?
Hold it up, said Viserys, and look closely. As Rhaenyra did so, she now saw fine lines, finer than the finest pen strokes, running along the blade. Lines of fire that seemed to form the letters of a flowing script. They shone piercingly bright, and yet remote, as if out of a great depth. One knife to rule them all, one knife to find them, one knife to bring them all and in the darkness stab them.
The House of the Dragon will stand as one for a further generation.
There it is! There it is!
Viserys fires Otto as Hand of the King in the book also, but not because of pressure put on him by Rhaenyra. He instead fires Otto due to him growing too annoying with his constant trying to convince Viserys to name Aegon heir in place of Rhaenyra. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first on-screen appearance of Moon Tea, also known as Tansy Tea, which is used by women to prevent and abort pregnancies. Viserys must not believe her when she says she's a virgin, to have this sent to her, which leaves Rhaenyra in a tough position, to drink it to confirm she did have sex, or to not drink it and doubly risk growing pregnant with not just a child, but a child that might not have the silvery white hair of a Targaryen, but instead the coal black hair of a Cole. So those are all my thoughts on the 4th episode of the 1st season of House of the Dragon, King of the Narrow Sea. If you think I missed anything important or interesting, put it in the comment below along with your own thoughts on the episode. My most liked part of the episode goes to Willem killing Geralt. People will think twice before calling him Craven again, good for him. And my most disliked part of the episode goes to seeing what the cut on Viserys' back looks like now. Be careful what you wish for, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have any advice on what I could do better for the next video, please leave it in the comment below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this video, and follow me on Twitter at @SSS_YouTube. I'm also on Odyssey at @SSS:83, so follow me on there if that's where you prefer to watch videos. Thank you again for watching, and I shall see you all again next time. Goodbye.